Hello, friend. Welcome to History ZZZ. Get comfortable. Let your body settle into wherever you are resting. Let your shoulders drop. Let your hands go still. Take one slow breath in and let it go. Tonight, I want to take you somewhere that almost no one goes anymore. Not a city, not a palace, not a library or a battlefield. The open road, the empty desert, the stars overhead, and the sound of camels shifting in the dark and the fire burning low. You are a Sogdian merchant. The year is 900, give or take a few years. You have been on the road for 8 months. You are 2 days from Samarkand. You are almost home. Lie back. Let your breathing slow. Tonight you are on the greatest trade route the world has ever known. You are Sogdian. Most people today have never heard of the Sogdians, but for 1,000 years they were the essential traders of Eurasia. They came from the fertile valleys around Samarkand and Bukhara in what is now Uzbekistan, an Iranian people, speaking their own language, following their own religion, brilliant at commerce. The Silk Road was not one road. You know this better than anyone. It was a web of routes, shifting with the seasons and the politics, and your family had been navigating it for 6 generations. Your grandfather's letters were found in a watchtower in China in 1907. Well, they will be found someday, you don't know that yet. Written on paper in Sogdian script, describing business, prices, routes, the movement of goods across the known world. You are a link in a chain that stretches from Chang'an to Constantinople. 2 days from Samarkand, you sit beside the fire and let the road's tiredness settle into your bones like warmth. You are carrying silk, not bolts of it, that would be too heavy, too obvious. You carry it in lengths, rolled tight, packed inside bales of less valuable goods that no one will bother to inspect. The silk is the profit margin. The pepper and cotton and leather are the cover. You are also carrying silver. Sasanian silver coins, Chinese bronze coins, Byzantine gold solidi, and a dozen coins from kingdoms so recently fallen that the merchants who issued them are dead, and the coins now trade purely on metal weight. And you are carrying something less visible: information. You know the price of silk in Chang'an and in Baghdad. You know which mountain passes are currently controlled by bandits and which are safe. You know which caliph's tax collectors take bribes and which ones write receipts. You know where the water is. That knowledge is worth more than the silk. You have always known this. The Karakum Desert is not a place that forgives mistakes. You have been moving through it for 6 days. The days were hot, not unbearable because it is early autumn, but the kind of dry heat that pulls water from you without your noticing until you realize your lips are cracked and your eyes hurt. The nights are cold. That is the desert's gift and its paradox. You have been doing this long enough to know the rhythm. Rise before dawn, travel 3 hours, rest in the heat, travel 3 more, make camp before dark. The camels know the rhythm too. They are not pleasant animals, you have made peace with this, but they are extraordinary, and you owe them your life several times over. Tonight the wind has died, the desert is perfectly still. The only sound is the fire, and one of the camels making the small grumbling sound that means it is almost asleep. You know that sound well. You find it comforting. You are traveling with 7 others. 3 are relatives, a cousin and 2 brothers-in-law. This is how it works. You do not travel alone, and you travel with family, because family is accountable in ways that hired men are not. The other 4 are guards, 2 Turkic men from the steppes who carry bows and move through the world with the easy confidence of people who have been dangerous their whole lives. and 2 local men hired in the last town who know this stretch of desert. Tonight the 4 guards sleep in rotation, 2 resting and 2 watching. You do not need to worry about the watching. That is theirs to do. Your cousin is already asleep, his coat pulled over his face, his breathing slow and even. He fell asleep before the fire was fully built. He is 22. This is only his 2nd journey. You remember being that tired on your 2nd journey. You remember thinking the tiredness would never end. It ends. It always ends. There are no cities within 100 miles, no lamps, no fires, no light from any human settlement. And so the stars are what they were before the world was filled with light. Everything. The Milky Way arches from one horizon to the other, not a haze but a structure, dense and detailed, with dark lanes and bright clusters and the slow suggestion of depth. You know the stars the way a city person knows streets, not as abstractions but as landmarks, as directions, as friends. That bright one to the south is Canopus. You use it for navigation in the southern part of your route. That cluster is the Pleiades, which rise just before dawn at this time of year and tell you it is time to break camp. You have navigated by these stars your whole traveling life. Your grandfather navigated by them. The people who first made this route navigated by them before any of you were born. The stars are the road's oldest infrastructure. 3 days ago you stopped at an oasis, Merv, the great oasis city on the edge of the desert, one of the largest cities in the world at this moment in history, though you would not use that phrase, the world not yet having the databases to rank such things. Merv had a covered bazaar that stretched for half a mile. It had a famous library, a great mosque, bathhouses where you soaked for 2 hours until the desert came out of you. It had a market for camels, horses, cotton, lapis lazuli, and books. You sold some pepper there. You bought dried fruit and salt and new rope. You had your camels examined by a veterinarian who found nothing wrong except minor wear on 2 of their foot pads, which she treated with something that smelled terrible and seemed to help. You ate good food in a caravanserai and slept in a real bed for 2 nights. Then you were on the road again. That is how it goes. The oases are the jewels on the string of the road. Samarkand is the jewel you are heading for. You speak 6 languages. Sogdian is your language, your mother's language, your children's language. You think in Sogdian and dream in Sogdian. Persian you speak like a native. It is the language of trade and administration across most of the route between Persia and India. Arabic you speak well, essential since the Islamic expansion transformed the western half of your trading world. Your grandfather had to learn Arabic in middle age. You learned it as a child and cannot remember not knowing it. You have serviceable Chinese, enough to conduct business in the markets of Dunhuang and Turfan. You have Turkic, necessary for the steppe, and you have Bactrian, the language of the ancient kingdom whose ruins you pass on every journey. 6 languages, each one a door into a different world. You have often thought that the Silk Road is not made of silk at all. It is made of language. The silk is just what travels on top of it. In your bag, there is a letter. It was given to you in Dunhuang by another Sogdian merchant who was heading east while you were heading west. He did not know you, but he knew your family name, and the letter is addressed to your father. You do not know what it says. You will not open it. The Silk Road postal system, if you can call it that, works on exactly this principle. Any Sogdian merchant traveling in the right direction becomes a temporary postman. Letters cross thousands of miles through this network of trust. The letter has been traveling by your estimate for about 4 months. Your father, when he receives it in Samarkand, will read the news from Dunhuang with information that is 6 months old by the time it reaches him. The news will be about prices mostly. The price of silk in Dunhuang, the reliability of a particular buyer. This is what passes for communication across 2,000 miles of mountains and desert. You hold the letter carefully. It has come a long way. You will carry it the rest. Tomorrow, the mountains begin. You have crossed this range many times, but it never becomes routine. The Pamirs, the roof of the world, begin east of Samarkand and rise to heights that still make you breathe carefully even after all these years. But tomorrow is not the Pamirs. Tomorrow is the gentler foothills, the first day of real altitude, where the air starts to feel different and the camels slow slightly, and you start to think about the passes. The passes are the thing. In summer, the high passes are clear and you cross with confidence. It is early autumn now. The windows are closing. You have done this calculation 100 times on this trip. How fast can you move? How quickly are the snows coming? Do you have enough time? You have been on the road long enough that the calculation is almost involuntary now. Your body knows the passes the way your body knows the feel of Samarkand air. You will make it. You always make it. But tomorrow you start climbing. Dinner tonight was flatbread and dried mutton and a handful of dried apricots. The apricots were bought in Merv, where the orchards are famous. They are small and intensely sweet and slightly chewy from the drying. You have been rationing them since Merv, allowing yourself 3 a night. Traveling food is its own philosophy. You carry what keeps. Dried meat, dried fruit, dried cheese, hard bread that travels well, oil for cooking. In towns you eat fresh, lamb, rice, pomegranates, melons that in this part of the world are legendary for their sweetness. The food you dream about, the food you have been thinking about for 2 months, your wife's rice dish. She makes it with lamb and carrots and dried barberries, and something she adds that you have never successfully identified and she refuses to tell you. It tastes like home. 2 days. You eat the 3 apricots slowly, one at a time. 2 days. You are not Muslim. Your family kept its Zoroastrian faith through 2 centuries of Islamic expansion, not from stubbornness but from genuine belief. You worship at the fire temple in Samarkand when you are home. You have a small portable fire kit for the road. When the Turkic guards observe their prayers, one of them is Muslim, one practices the Turkic shamanic tradition, you observe a respectful silence. When you observe your own prayers, they do the same. This is how the Silk Road works. You cannot do business across half the world while being intolerant of how people in that world talk to whatever they believe is listening. Pragmatism is the Silk Road's oldest religion. Tonight, before sleep, you make your small prayer. The candle flame you carry in a glass globe against the wind. The fire at the center of all things. It has been guiding people home for longer than your family has been on this road. The Silk Road is not romantic. You know this better than anyone who has only heard about it. It is dusty and cold at night and hot in the day, and the saddle sores never completely heal during the journey, and the food gets boring around week 6. And there is always the low-level anxiety about bandits, about passes, about whether your information about the route is current. And yet, there are moments on the road that you cannot replicate in any city. The day you crested a pass and saw the Fergana Valley spread below you in the morning light, green and impossible after weeks of desert. The night in Dunhuang when a Chinese musician played something you had never heard and something in you understood it before your mind did. The afternoon in an unremarkable caravanserai in Sogdiana, when you sat next to a Buddhist monk from India and spent 3 hours comparing what your two traditions said about the soul. The road gives you a version of the world that no city dweller gets. You would not trade it. You have never admitted this to your wife. You have 3 children. The oldest is 14. When you left in spring, he was 13, learning the business in Samarkand under your father's instruction. By now, he will have grown again. They always grow when you are not watching. The middle child, your daughter, is 11. She is the one who made you draw the map before you left, a map of the whole route, marked with the cities, so she could point to where you were each day. She is probably still doing this. You hope she is. The youngest is 7. He barely understands yet that the journeys are long. He thinks you go away for a while and come back with presents. This is essentially correct. In your pack, wrapped in silk, appropriate, you think, there is a small carved jade horse for him, a bolt of deep blue Chinese cloth for your daughter, and for your oldest son, something he asked for specifically, a book on mathematics in Arabic, which he has decided to learn. 2 days. The road you are traveling is older than your civilization. The Chinese silk began moving west at least 1,000 years before your grandfather's grandfather was born. Roman senators in the time of Augustus wore Chinese silk and had no idea where it came from, only that it arrived from the east, impossibly fine, impossibly expensive. The route through your homeland, through these deserts and these passes, was being traveled while Rome was building its first roads, while the pyramids were already old. You are not thinking about this tonight. You are thinking about the jade horse in your pack and whether your youngest son will like it. But you know, in the way that people who live a thing always know it without needing to state it, that you are part of something that began long before you and will continue long after you. The road has carried people like you across this ground for more generations than anyone has counted. Tonight is your night on it. You are just passing through. One of the Turkic guards is singing quietly, not to anyone, just singing to himself, seated at the edge of the firelight, his bow across his knees, watching the dark. You do not speak enough of his dialect to understand the words. The melody is unlike anything in the musical tradition you grew up with. A different scale, a different relationship to time, notes held in a way that suggests something about the step that you can feel but not quite name. It is not a sad song. It is not a happy song. It is a song for the night watch, something to keep the mind present while the eyes are moving, something to mark the slow passage of the hours. You listen for a while without letting him know you are listening. When he finishes, you close your eyes. The fire is low, the camels are still, the stars are moving overhead at their immeasurably slow pace. It is time to sleep. In 2 days, Samarkand. You have been to many great cities, Chang'an, Baghdad, Constantinople once, Merv, Nishapur, the port cities of India. But Samarkand is yours. The city sits in the Zarafshan River Valley, green in a way that still surprises you after weeks of desert every time. The markets are famous, a nexus of the road where goods from every direction pool and trade and move on. The city has always attracted craftsmen, the paper makers who learned the craft from Chinese prisoners and improved on it until Samarkand paper was known as the finest in the world. Your house is on a street behind the main bazaar, a blue door, a courtyard with a mulberry tree. 2 days. The blue door. You close your eyes and let yourself think about it. You are almost asleep. The fire is very low. The guard's song has stopped. The desert is quiet in the way that only very empty places are quiet. Not the absence of sound, but the presence of a very ancient stillness. Your body is doing what it always does at the end of a long day, accounting for the miles, the hips from the saddle, the shoulders from the pack, the slight headache that means you need more water than you drank today. Tomorrow, water at the oasis spring at the foothills. That is the first thing, but that is tomorrow. Right now, the cold air and the stars and the sound of your cousin breathing slowly somewhere to your left. 2 days, the blue door, the rice dish, the jade horse. You sleep. The Silk Road carried more than silk. It carried Buddhism from India to China. It carried Islam westward and east. It carried paper from China to Europe, and eventually printing and eventually everything that followed. It carried the Black Death when the time came. The fleas that carried the bacterium traveled in the caravans and killed 1/3 of Europe. The road carried both the gifts and the catastrophes. It carried music. The lute you hear in European medieval music is the oud, which traveled from the Arabic world through the traders. The number 0 crossed this road. The recipe for gunpowder crossed this road. The orange, the lemon, the peach, whose Latin name persicum says where it came from, and it carried people. People like you, who carried letters and children's presents and information about prices in 6 languages and the knowledge of which mountain pass was open. The road made the world interconnected before the word existed. You did that. You and your grandfather and his grandfather, camping under these same stars. Let the road carry you now. You are almost home. You have been almost home for 100 miles. The desert is still. The stars are turning slowly. The guard at the perimeter is a dark shape against the sky. There is something about sleeping in the open, no ceiling between you and the stars, the cold air and the silence and the knowledge that tomorrow the road continues, that teaches you something no city teaches, that you are very small and the world is very large and you are moving through it under your own power, that the road always leads somewhere, that the stars are reliable, you are safe, you are warm in your coat, the guards are watching, the camels are still. 2 more days, good night from the Silk Road, good night. In 2 days, the blue door opens. Your daughter sees you first. She has been watching from the roof, her map in hand, waiting. She shouts something you cannot hear yet, and by the time you have dismounted in the street, everyone is there. Your youngest son gets the jade horse. He holds it up to the light, and his face does the thing that faces do when they receive exactly what they wanted. Your wife says nothing for a moment when she sees you. She just looks at you the way people look at things they have been worrying about for 8 months and have now confirmed are still in the world. Then she says, "You look terrible. This means I'm glad you're home. You are home. The road is over. Until next spring." Thank you for traveling the Silk Road tonight. If you enjoyed this journey, History ZZZ has many more waiting for you. The House of Wisdom in Baghdad, the beaches of Normandy, the mysteries of the ancient world. Wherever you would like to rest tonight, we have a world for you. Sleep well wherever you are. History ZZZ.